Excellent. Cool. Brilliant. Can I just ask, as Rob said, could everybody please mute yourself? And can everybody see the PowerPoint on their screen? Okay, Rob, give me a thumbs up if it's there. Brilliant. I'll do the Can you hit the mute all for me, Rob? Brill. Okay, we're going to cover quite a lot of stuff tonight. This was originally dubbed National Rankings and National Tour, but it'll be National Rankings, National Tour, an update on where we're at with the guidance now. The UK government have released a lockdown pathway for a way out of lockdown for England, with some potentially useful dates for us and lots of updates. Obviously, Scotland, Wales, Ireland are on slightly different paths. Literally, as I was walking in the room for this meeting tonight, I could hear on the news that Scotland have released a load of dates. They will need to, the Scottish Archery, Welsh Archery, and NI Archery Board will need to marry up our stuff with their dates, because we're not all on the same dates. And I don't have all the details on all of those. I know some of this is a hot topic. Okay, so we're going to quickly update where we're at with guidance. If you are a TO running a tournament, this is really important. If you're waiting for national rankings and national tour, I'm going to save that for the end. Okay, so update on return to competition guidance. Organised outdoor sport is no longer bound to a legal gathering limit, so you can have more than the 30 people, etc. For weddings, funerals at your events, but there are steps you need to take. This is the official excerpt from the update after Boris's last speech, and this is all that we've been given to follow the roadmap by from the CMS, and it's the government will allow outdoor sports facilities to reopen, broaden options for outdoor exercise and recreation. These facilities, such as tennis, basketball courts, swimming pools, can be used by people in line with a wider social contact limits. Formally organised outdoor sports for adults and under 18s can restart, will not be subject to gatherings limit, but must be compliant with guidance issued by national governing bodies. In our case, for the sport of archery, that is Archery GB, and that is the only guidance that the government will take. So also with this, the government, you should all know this anyway, released steps out of lockdown for England. As of March the 29th, I imagine you're all getting your equipment ready because your club can reopen. But at that point, we are still under a stay local order. There is no, they haven't released a distance on that. I'm not going to make a distance up for that, but we, stay local means your local archery club, not one the other end of the country. April the 12th, that is the next change. Doesn't really affect the numbers or what we can do, but it says still no overnight accommodation available, and you're to minimize travel. So how important is that Popinjay shoot we all want to go to in John O'Groats, for example? It's not. So we need to think very sensibly about what minimized travel means. May the 17th, hotels open. It's when there's an international travel review as well. So when hotels open, that is an indication we can do a lot more, and there's a lot of the things happening. And then hopefully on June the 21st, if all goes well and we've all behaved, further restrictions. There's no indication exactly of what restrictions are going to be lifted. So those are the key things we've got to work about on our return to competition, and what we've all got to bear in mind. Because if we all start breaking these laws, what will happen? things will just get delayed even further. So this slide was in the last two I think I've done. This is what, as a host club, you are required to do to comply to the NGB guidelines to run a competition. This has to take place. If you have not done these steps, you cannot deliver an open competition. You need to complete a full risk assessment. You need to complete an event delivery plan. Both of these are on the Archery GB webpage, can be downloaded as templates. You need to produce a venue. Well, I've put a venue plan that shows how far your targets are going to be apart for your competition, all your access points, your routes, so you're avoiding people bumping into each other, how you're going to do your shooting line tent layout, and just identify any crucial pinch points that could be a problem where people can't avoid not being within 2 meters of each other. Now, the above, you need to distribute the following to your head judge so they know your plans, what is going to happen on the day, all your volunteers working at that event, and a set must be kept on file. So if there is an incident or any problems or anybody feels that your club weren't following the guidelines, someone like myself can contact you and ask to see all this. Doesn't require a full sign-off from me. You're welcome to send in your venue plans and event delivery plans if you have a problem or you want more broader insight from myself or Robert, for instance, or any of the other rest of our team. We can help. It's just essential that you have the process followed, and if it is a problem, you can produce these documents. More important stuff on when you run a competition: your entry form must have this information on it about a pre-attendance symptom check. Also, when you send out your target list, for example, or publish your target list on your web page, you need to have this information, pre-event info, that covers all this here. And this isn't something we've written. This has come straight from the DCMS website. So that is how they want it written. Every event has to do this. Some sports are doing these as like Google Forms that you must fill in before you turn up. Many different ways of doing it. But again, the process must be shown that you have done this. And if we hear that shoots aren't doing this, we will have to ask why and what we will do about it. So just briefly, if you are planning a competition in 2021, make sure you know the size of your field. Know how many targets you can fit on with social distancing. As I said, where competitions are recommending, if you're going to shoot 4 people to a target, 5-meter lanes. So your target centers are 2.5 apart. That way everybody is more than 2 meters apart all the time. It gives a bit of wiggle room at the target when the scoring's taking place, and it shows in our work how to do it, having the 4 markers on the floor, so at all times everyone is amply spread apart. Make sure you have your plan ready with your flow and how your line tents are going to go out, because you've got to think about where they are. I've heard one club already has banned line tents in the period they're in. That's up to them. We're not going to say you can or you can't, but we will support any TO in whatever they want to do if they get in touch and ask for advice. Make sure you double check all your touch points, where you need to clean, where you need to sanitize. If you're going to be moving your targets, you need to think how that's going to work. We had a fantastic plan last year from a club who ran an Albion last October, and they had 2 guys who moved their whole field. It worked brilliant. There was no problems. They had another person going down behind them, cleaning everything off after. And as I said, we were running some pilot events last September. First went well, 720s. Then we did a head-to-head, and we suddenly realised when people are moving targets that the flippy number boards needed to be cleaned between every match. And then next time we worked out a way of keeping people on the same targets. In the current periods, it's probably worth just thinking, am I going to run a one-day event? Our shoot's been a two-day event for 100 years, but I want it to happen. Can I still get it through as a one-day event? Or maybe two single-day events, not a double-day event. You're going to need a crystal ball, because I've done about 105 different plans now for this year, and I hope and believe that this one now I'm going to tell you all will happen. So you've got to have more plans, you've got to be flexible, and we've got to think outside that's what we've done for 100 years, because it's the only way we will be able to move forward this year. And we should be able to deliver most of our events. Most clubs should be able to deliver competitions, just you need to adjust for the current climate. Okay, so that's the update on the guidance and what every club needs to do to run a shoot. And now I'm going to talk about what we're allowed to do and when we're allowed to do it. So in line with step 1 that comes on the 29th of March, your archery club can open. I don't know all the rules on that yet. Clubs of participation will be releasing that hopefully this week. They're waiting for a little bit of further guidance from Sport England first, just in case anything has been changed since they made the last announcement. Fingers crossed all that'll happen. At that point, you can do what you want at your club. There is no open competition. It just can't be allowed because of the stay local order. But in line with what you're allowed to do at club, you can run an in-club competition with your own club members following the guidance that comes out. Step 2, which should be between April the 12th and May the 16th. Now, I can't stress enough, these are in line with the government step changes. If the government move a date, these dates move as well. Under this period, there are still government restrictions. Please keep travel to a minimum. Hotels are not open for anyone to be able to book without a working letter. Under this guidance, we're going to allow UK record status one-day tournaments to run. Now, I'm not putting a distance on this, but we're meant to be minimising travel. So I have written regionally based competitors. Okay, for a national event to run, it must be of high importance and deemed highly necessary, e.g. a selection shoot for a British team or a pilot event that we need to test out further measures, then we get it all cleared off by DCMS. Field competitions can run in their one-day golf style format that they piloted and ran brilliantly last year, because that is 4 people in a place. And again, priority to local entries, but those who are seeking selection scores can travel there if they can get there in the day without needing hotels, etc. But they need to, again, be able to present that case and be able to move where they are going. Might seem over precautious, but I think we need to take it carefully. I read all this. I've sat in a group of other event managers from other outdoor sports, and we are bang in line with every sport apart from one, who looked really awkward when we all presented these plans to each other last week. From step 3, which fingers crossed is May the 17th. Again, if we all behave, competitions able to run with world record status. Hotels are open, yeah, but again, we must follow the archery GB guidelines, and we will still be under the 2-meter social distancing, 5-meter target centres preferably. And then on June the 21st, which I do believe is Boris's birthday or the day before, we don't know much about this. You know, competitions can run. They will be hopefully reducing restrictions. It doesn't say the end of restrictions if you read the steps. So when that information comes out, I will update you all on, we'll have another one of these. It could be end of restrictions. It might not. It might be 1 meter. Who knows? We just don't know. So we hope that happens. And again, So if you've got competitions between these dates, you need to look at what state you're in and you can deliver to. Yeah. Now, if you plan in a tournament for the 23rd of June, I really, really strongly recommend you plan it to step 3 rules. Because if you think, oh, we can get 50 targets on at 2 meters apart and it's still at 5 meters, you're going to have a problem. You can always let more in. That is much easier than having to ring people up and say, I'm sorry, I've got to reduce my field. I have a major competition the last weekend of June. I am planning it for 5 meter target centers still, and the weekend after as well. So I think we just need to go cautiously. And as I said, we can always let more in, but if we have to turn people away, that'd be a really awkward conversation, wouldn't it? So national competition updates for this year, and as I said, we're going to run all these to those steps. Fingers crossed that everything that runs well. The British Field, the 3D Champs, the Junior National Outdoor Championships will all run in one-day formats. The Junior Nationals is on its traditional weekend, but I'm planning on splitting the event over 2 days. So we'll have X amount of age groups on Saturday and different age groups on Sunday, and they'll run the Bristol rounds. But Lilleshall will be planned out to only have a capacity of 40 targets still, even though that's 2 weeks after the step 4, because I'm going to plan to that. I then have to turn people away. We're hoping by the end of the month and into August, the Youth Festival, the British Target Championships and the UK Masters, which obviously is moving, as you can guess from this statement, they're going to be planned in their traditional formats, hopefully, but we won't open the entries until the announcement on the 21st of June. That way we know what we're selling. I'm not going to run the National County Team Championships this year because it was traditionally the end of June. And again, that would be nightmare trying to run with any form of social distancing team rounds. We're going to move it. It's going to come back in 2022, and we're going to give it a new date from 2022 onwards. It's going to become the last full weekend of September, and that will become its annual date. So this is nearly 18 months prior notification to everybody. This will give a lot of counties have fed back even in June. They struggle to organise their teams and plan for that event. So I'm planning a big end of year county team match. I'm going to try and make it a bit better. It's one of my favourite shoots of the year, to be honest. I've enjoyed shooting in it myself, and I've enjoyed working on it the last few years. So that will be there from now on, end of September in 2022. GB rankings, because of big restrictions on size of shoots, it doesn't take a genius to work out that it will not work the way we run it. And I don't want to put in a temporary format for 1 year. I think that would be nuts. It will start once step 4 starts. So we might only have half a year of rankings. It's what it is. We'd all love to have a full year of rankings, but it will start again in line with step 4. We've had a whole new system written, and Robert's helped write it to do it, so it'll be much more better when it comes back now. The new system on SEO have been involved in that development as well. And we will monitor events once they start back up, just to make sure it's working fairly. If there's loads of events with 3 people in a category, everyone's going to have a lot of points, and that's where we would to work out if it's actually worth publishing. It won't roll in. We'll probably just announce it maybe mid-September with a few weeks to go, and then hopefully back from 2022 it'll be working properly again. National Tour, that's going to start on the last weekend of June. The new date for the Bucks and Bounty shoot, I've given them that weekend. The National Tour finalists will only be selected. It's going to go back in time, like when it used to be the National Series, only off the events, the 5 stages, the tier 1s that are the National Tour. So no other shoots will feed into the National Tour for this year. it's the fairest way to be able to make sure that we get a good, clean field. And it's not easy to make these decisions, I imagine you understand. There is one Tier 2+ event, which would be the second day of the British Target Champs. That will also count towards it. So, and hopefully we'll be able to find a great venue to host the National Tour Finals in September. Working on that one at the moment.
John, there's a question
Yes.
about National Disability Championships. Yes.
Oh. I might answer it through this question here. What is it? Go on.
I think it was just about the dates.
Okay. Well, here's all the national competition dates. The National Disability Championships is taking place as well, and it's pretty much standard. That sorry, that wasn't a fully comprehensive list to spread out, but here is I'll run down this so everyone can see it. The UK 3D Championships. This is like one of our newest events. We're trying to get going. That's taking place at Pentref. I really hope this can happen in May. It's actually happening in 4 sessions. There's like they're going to shoot 2 to a target, and they're going to go around in. Going to be 4 sessions over the weekend. They've really made a good little plan down at Pentref to run that. British Field Championships is at Overton, unfortunately, I think that's already sold out. Then the Junior National Championships on its traditional weekend, 3rd and 4th of July. As I said before, we're going to split the field over 2 days, probably like Bristol 5, 4, and 3, Rob, on Saturday. Yeah, and then the others on Sunday. Again, if that opens up, I'll see what happens, but that might not be quick enough to be able to change that. But we won't be able, we'll have more capacity than you can ever imagine for it, so we won't have to turn anyone away. The Youth Festival, I hope we can run that as the 5-day event in the end of July. And another new event that's coming to our calendar. If anybody can think of a better name for this event, because it's been the longest running debate now for a year for me, I'm calling it the UK World Archery Age Group Masters Championships for over 50s. So that is in line with the World Archery Masters. The problem is World Archery has Masters at over 50, but if we say Masters in the UK, you're instantly associated with Master Bowman. So I am at a loss for names. Please send me in ideas. But that's going to be starting up down at Wallingford Castle Archers, thanks to Mark Tamlin. That was meant to happen last year. So hopefully we can really establish that, because I know it's so popular around the rest of the world. Then the BTC is the first full weekend in August. Sorry. The GNAM is also moving. Here's another big announcement. I'm moving the GNAM to August. It's going to be a 3-day event, but on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And I'm going to introduce junior age groups. We're going to introduce Bristols. And I really want to get this shoot back up on its feet. I think there were 65 at the last one. I hope to make it more of a family-friendly, fun, not serious. I don't think it's not serious, but it's like our longest running tournament. But a more relaxed atmosphere where people can just come and enjoy doing archery. And as I said, now we're introducing Bristols so the whole family can shoot. Or if people don't fancy shooting 100 yards and they want to shoot a Bristol 2, they can. Just want people to take part and enjoy it. We'll put up some new awards for every new category we put in. Disability Champs is going to be at Lillishall on September the 11th. And I do believe the BBS shoot is the next day at Lillishall for the British Blind Sports. The Junior UK Masters is going to be at Deer Park Archers in September. I think this is a way better date for this event than in the middle of GCSE period in May. Everyone who was invited in 2019 will be invited unless you are now too old, and that is just awkward, I know. But people will be able to get new people will have lots of time to qualify for that event this year. So fingers crossed, and great. That's going to start now at Deer Park. Oxford did a great job with that event and really build it up. The UK Masters for Master Bowman is going to be the 25th and 6th of September at Lilleshall. I'm going to put it back to its normal head-to-head and a full-day shoot on the second day. Hopefully, depending on restrictions with COVID, otherwise it'll have to be last year's format. And again, everyone who was invited in 2019 will be re-invited, and any new qualifying MBs this year also have loads of time, hopefully, to get their scores and get invited. The National Clout Championships is in October. Andrew Neil's found a fantastic new ground at York, which we meant to use last year. They've done a lot of work on Clout as well. There's a Clout pilot in May in Cheshire, just to make sure all the rules around how to run a Clout, which is probably more challenging than Target or Field or anything to run with social distancing. They're going to be doing that. And then I'm not even going to talk about National Indoor Championships because it's a long way away, and I just pray we can put that on next December. So I'll move on to my next one. So the National Tour Tier 1 events. So to qualify for the National Tour final, only this list of events count. So we're going to kick off at Bucks and Bounty. They are having the National County Teams weekend at Lilleshall. That'll be run. Saturday will be focused on recurve, Sunday on compounds. There will be space filling on each day for others. Plus, I know the barebows are allowed to shoot on the compound day with the new World Archery barebow rounds. We've stocked up loads of awards for them. They're going to be after the records. Longbows will be welcome to shoot on the Saturday as well. Then the Surrey weekend will take place down at Tolworth on July the 10th and 11th. Again, that's double stage with recurve Saturday, compounds on Sunday. Hopefully, and Eddie is on here, Bowman of Glen are doing the next stage for me, which will be compound Saturday, recurve Sunday. And then in August, just waiting for confirmation. Hopefully, it'll be Barnsley. They've got a new, better field as well for their venue. Fingers crossed. Much more sheltered and bigger. They'll be doing our August stage. And then the British Target Championships will also be a stage plus a stage tier 2. So fingers crossed all those events can run and we can have a national tour selected from people who do it this year and not from people in 2019. Okay, so that is the big major update. All this I've just presented will be, hopefully, is ready to go out as a document as well. So I'm just going to throw, are any questions about that before we start talking about registering events on Sport 80? Actually, I'm rather than going off on another big thing. Any questions? Okay. Oh, yeah.
John,
Yes.
just to follow up about the local travel, we've actually put our double AA 720 in for the 16th of May, as we said.
Yeah.
We're doing it as a 30-mile radius.
That absolutely. I imagine you've got 13 target capacity, haven't you?
Yeah, 12 targets,
Yeah.
30-mile radius. But I mean, even going to 30-mile radius, that's only sort of takes me down into Leicestershire, but knocks Rutland out. So
yeah,
it doesn't even cover the full EMAS.
No, I think people have just got to be really sensible about it.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I was talking to another TO. They're putting a shoot on 150 miles away from where I live. I wouldn't go to that event. That's the way I look at it. You know, even if I wanted to, you just got to be sensible, because all that happen is if we all just go nuts and go everywhere, we'll just end up back in lockdown. And I normally push the envelope more than anyone I know of what we can do. And I'm being...
It's up to the TOs to control it. If you see an entry come in and you know that's further away than you want to take, you've got to email them and say, sorry, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. There's another hand up.
Hi, John, it's Lee. I just wanted to reiterate the point in regards to distance. As a TO, you've got to be able to justify your actions in the event that something goes wrong, or you have a bout of COVID positive tests at your venue. So that's where you've got to think about it, and you've got to be able to justify to yourself honestly that you'll be able to defend your decision in distance. and whatever you decide, you have to be able to defend it in the event that something goes wrong. So you need to always bear that in mind.
Yeah, it's a nightmare for everyone. Yeah. Okay. More questions about what we've done there. And whoever got their mic on, they turn off. Okay, well, have a think. So I'm going to hand over to Rob now, and this is important now for all TOs. You now need to register your events through the Sport 80 system. Please don't fill in the old pieces of paper and post them in anymore. So this is now Rob. What's your team called now, Robert? This is who are managing all this for us?
It's just the usual membership support team.
Support team.
As normal. Okay, so I'll take you through this very quickly. Some of you will have already used this, some of you may not have seen this bit before, but this is, as John says, the replacement for filling in the paper forms. It makes life a bit easier for you guys to A, pay the fees hopefully, and B, us to have a comprehensive calendar that's right without us having to transpose data off of forms into an online system for you. If you're a tournament organizer of a club, you'll have to ask your club secretary to give you event admin access to your club or your county or your region. Once you have that, you will be able to log into Sport 80 and you'll be asked whether you want to go to your personal profile or whether you want to go into the club. You would select the club profile. I've already done that here just for ease of demoing this. It's a little bit quicker. On the left hand side, you'll see you have an events option, which most of you will be familiar with if you want to enter a tournament. When you've been given the event admin access for a club, you'll also see an option at the top right here called event sanctioning. If you click on this, you'll get a range of options and a warning about Stripe account. You can press OK to the message and ignore it. The Stripe account warning is there if you want to use the platform to take entries for your tournament. So you would have a Stripe account configured and connected to your club, and that would take all the fees for you and deposit them in your bank account via Stripe. There is a Stripe charge and there is a platform charge for using the service as well. So there's some small print to read about what those rates are exactly. When you click on the appropriate event, it will give you the warning and ask you to accept the terms and conditions. What we'll look at is a not on platform event, just again because it's easier to show you how that works. So we'll go for this UK record status. So we're not taking the entries through the platform, which means people aren't using Sport 80 to sign up to your event. You're just using this to register the shoot with us for the purpose of UK record status or world record status, or in fact, you can also register non-record status to have your shoots appear in the appropriate calendar. So UK record status event. And we have to fill in all of this basic info, which is information you'd have had to put on the form before. We have asked some extra questions as well, and there's some questions here that help the members when they're seeing your event in the tournament calendar know roughly what's going on. So we need to pick an event name. So we'll pick an event name that I filled in earlier, but you type in the box. There's no real character limit, but just keep it obvious for people. Event start date. So when's your shoot going to be happening? So we'll put ours on that Saturday. Who's your tournament organizer? Okay, so it's going to be potentially you, unless you're the club secretary, and you can fill this out and you can enter some, your tournament organizer's name for the shoot. So in this case, we'll have me. Phone number, obviously for being able to contact the organizer, and the primary contact email as well. Website link, if you've got a website that you want to send them to or a web address you want to send them to for an entry form, put that detail in that box there. The judge in charge box, it's really important you fill this in for us and you fill it in with your actual COJ. Don't just put to be advised or anything like that, because we will reject the application until you've got the right name in the box. Like you do currently, make sure you've got the right COJ in there. And if you want to make a change to the chair of judges for a tournament, please, you will need to let us know. We will need to make the amendment to the form for you once it's been submitted. And at that point, again, we need to validate that the chairman of judges for the shoot is of the right level. That's quite important, especially for world record status shoots, that we get that right. So name of your judge in charge. When's the entry for your shoot going to open and shut? This is just information for the members now, where they'll see when this sort of thing happens. So you can set a date and a time by just clicking on the calendar picker. So our shoot was on the 3rd, so we're going to close the entries on the 31st. What's the event type? So is it target, field, clout, or flight? So we're going to pick target shoot. You're required to enter an entry fee. It's a feature of the system that it tries to tell people what these fees are. Later on in the additional info, you can put additional information if there's a variation in fees for different categories and things. But normally, you know, most people tend to have a fixed fee. So you put 40 in there. You don't have to put in the pound sign or anything. That's just a number box. The round type. You need to pick which rounds you're applying for, in this case, UK record status for. So we're going to pick the WA 1440. And at the same time, I want to run the metrics. So you can multi-select the rounds. So you could run a York Hereford and the associated Bristols and things like that within the system. So you can just pick which rounds you need. Whether it's a single or a double, well, for me, it's a one-day shoot. So I'm going to pick the single round. Is it head-to-head, yes or no? Is it an open event? So i.e., do you want to allow other people to enter it? So will it show up on the platform for everyone to see? Or is it a closed event? And we know those sorts of things do exist where you have like county matches and you invite people. So you might be registering a closed shoot. But in this case, it's open to everybody. Is it indoor, yes or no? And is it going to take tassel status? Well, it's not a clout, so it won't be. And then we press next. You then need to specify a venue address. Again, it's really important that this venue address is an address that the club or the county or the region has registered as a registered archery range. Okay, you can either pick from a venue address search of the club's venue addresses, or the easiest way is still just to obviously put in the postcode for your venue, click find address, and hopefully it will turn up with the right location for you. Make sure you pick the county as well from the drop down list, and then press next. This is your additional info space. So this will show up when someone clicks on your event in the calendar. This will show up and they will be able to see additional information about your shoot. This might be that you need to give them a different postcode to find the ground for a sat nav or something. We know sometimes that happens where you have to give them the house nearest the place or something because it's the middle of nowhere in a field. Or at the minute, especially topical, putting in the COVID restrictions for your shoot, making sure people are fully aware of what they're looking at before they go and continue signing up to your event, whether using the platform or going off to your website to find that information. So you can populate this with as much or as little information as you like, but it's quite handy. It's there and up front for everyone to read, so do fill that in as well. You press save, your tournament will then be created and get a little message saying your tournament's been set up. And you'll see my basket at the top right here has a red 1, which means I have something in my basket. At this point, I can go and check out my tournament and pay for it. Okay, so I can choose checkout. I can pick by payment advice, which means you can print off the paperwork and get the club treasurer or something to send us a bank transfer with the appropriate reference like they would for membership payment. Or you can choose to pay by card and immediately pay the sanctioning fee for the event. The choice is up to you. If we pick payment advice and press download, this will send me a PDF, which you might be able to see there. This is a test site, so there's some graphics missing. But basically, it tells you what it's for, and then at the bottom, like it does for membership, it gives you the options for how to pay by bank transfer. Once all that's been completed, it will come into us. We'll get notified that it gets paid off by our finance department if you've chosen to pay by bank transfer. And then we will go through the approvals process, checking your shoot as we go, as Karen used to quite diligently check for various requirements for your type of shoot. If you have any problems during the process, then you can email tournaments@archerygb.org or inquiries@archerygb.org, and one of the team will be more than happy to help you through the process of registering the shoot. If you've registered the shoot and you need to change something, again, email one of the team. They should be able to assist with that. There are a few things you can change about the event, but you can't change some of the core information around who's judging it and what rules you're running to. That's something we need to do for you. So again, just contact one of the team and they'll help you through that process. Hopefully it's as simple as that to run through, a little bit faster hopefully than the older forms in terms of having to write everything down. And this is the way it's going to happen from now on in terms of registering the shoots. So we're not inundated with bits of paper we're trying to decipher and trying to put back on the system in some way, and then hopefully not messing anything up on the way through as well. This way it also ties the event to your club, and we know roughly what's happening in and around the country. It's good for us to know, and it'll start auto feeding a tournaments calendar which is coming up on the website once we finish transferring all the shoots over for this year. So I'll hand back to John.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, just to say, is no fee to put your shoot on that if you want to. If it's not a record status tournament, register your competition in there for free, and it will be in the calendar for free for anyone to see. So it's really good, be it an American, a Western, a national, anything. If it's not record status, please put them through there. You don't have to make any payment. We don't have to authorize them, but it will automatically go into the Sport 80 list of competitions and onto the Archery GB website. So that's a really good bonus for absolutely everybody, I think. I'm just going to put has anyone got any questions for Rob about the process of registering all that? Wow. Nothing.
Oh,
okay.
John, I think there is a question from Susan, actually.
Okay.
Rob, when are they going to update the new calendar? Because there's a lot of EMAS shoots that are not on the calendar that have not been transferred over.
Yeah, good question, Mario. We are going through that process right now. We've been waiting to hear what the guidance is going to be for the rest of the year, and I've been working with John closely on that approvals process. There's been some internal staffing changes, which I'm sure some of you will have seen on the website around movements. That's kind of hindered a little bit of that process for us, but we should be getting underway with that. Hopefully by the end of this week, most of that will be sorted.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Any more questions for Rob about Sport 80? Has anyone got any questions about their approvals they're currently waiting for or anything? No? Wow. Okay. Badges and awards. I mentioned this one in the last one of these I did. If you're running a World Archery award shoot or a Rose award shoot, if you would like, and this is up to you as a TO, to give out awards on the day for the majority of the Vita Stars, Vita Target Awards, Rose Awards, we are more happy now than ever now to send you a little bag in the post at no cost to you to award on the day. So like the 8,000-9,000 Rose, maybe 1,100, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 Vita awards. Similar with the Target awards up to red. You can give those at the end of the day. The only thing we ask, and this has been really well received, when Robert's been doing the results at national tour events, he's been taking the awards around with him. We've been doing the JNOC, and we had a TO trial it for us at the one indoor shoot that happened last year. Simeon did it for us brilliantly, and it was well received. People getting their awards. There's a lot of bare bows at the moment going to win a lot of these silver Target awards. The same with the Masters age group as well. If people do like receiving them on the way, they don't have to wait for us to process it and post it out. But as I said, the only thing we ask in return is that you complete the paperwork to tell us who has had what. You don't need to do any checking other than just check the results that are correct on the day for us. If you would like to do that as a TO, it's optional completely. Just drop an email to tournaments@archerygb.org, and someone from Rob's team will be in touch and we'll get you a little bag of awards out before your event. You don't need to send them back. You can keep them for the year after or your next event, whatever. And if you need a top up, we'll send them you when you request them. So I hope some TOs would like to do that. As I said, we've been trialing it around the national tour now for at least 2 years in the JNOC, and it does go down well. Absolutely flying through this. Got one left.
Questions? Okay, John, we've got a couple of questions. Bernie, you've got your hand up.
Go, Bernie.
Just a quick one from Sharon. Roughly how long from submitting the form does it take to clear the tournament so we know it can be run?
If you submit the form and you pay by card, obviously the payment's instant and it'll be reviewed within that week. Absolutely. If you obviously pay by BACS transfer, then we have to wait until the BACS transfer is cleared before we can actually process the tournament. So we know it's there, but we'll be checking it at least once a day just to see what's coming through. But in the first instance, hopefully when we've only got a few coming through, it'll be quite fast. When we've got quite a few to go through, obviously, as I say, it could take a week to look through some of them. Kind of depends what else is happening and how many are going through the system at once.
And once it's been cleared to go ahead from AGB, will you be emailing out to the TO to say yes, rather than waiting for the paperwork to turn up?
So you will get a set of automated emails, and one of those will be thank you for submitting your shoot. It's under review, and then as soon as we've approved it, you'll get an automatic email saying thank you very much. Your shoot has been approved and is ready to go ahead. And in that email will also be all the links to take you to where all the various documentation is and the latest set of records and stuff like that as well. So that's all going to be automated from that angle. So you're not waiting for us to write an email. As soon as we click the button and tick the shoot off, you'll get that straight away.
Okay, Robert, thank you very much.
Robert?
Yeah?
Will tournament organisers be able to access membership, UK membership, rather than cards? Because there's still quite a few people that don't turn up with cards, or they haven't got them on their phone, or there's no...
Yeah, that's a good question. At the moment, the access the tournament organiser gets is limited because obviously there are certain data processing requirements and data handling security around that from our side.
Yeah.
But it's something we are looking at seeing what we can do.
Okay, thank you.
I will add to that, and this isn't me telling anyone you've got to use it, but if you use the platform to take your entries, people cannot enter if they're not a member. That's not me saying please use Sport 80, because it's completely up to you as a club if you wish to. But if someone is not a member, they cannot enter an event through Sport 80. Which is why we don't really need to check the cards at national tournaments.
John, there's a question from Rebecca Lee around the national tour events being in Scotland.
We had a bid last year and there was going to be one. They didn't come forward again this year. When I emailed them, that's not me saying they can't do it or won't do it, but we've got such a limited space in the calendar this year. I will be back in Scotland as soon as we're back on a full year, and there's a club who really want to put one on up there. Yeah. I've had to go with really experienced organisers this year who can just deliver and adjust at the drop of a hat. And I know that sounds awful, but we've just got to, it can't be normal this year. We'll be normal and spread. The spread we had 12 months ago was phenomenal for the year that got cancelled. We had Ireland, we had Scotland. It was the best we've ever had in the 12 years of the event. Any more, Kath? Sorry. Okay, bye, Kath. I see it. Anybody else? Any other questions? Or if I've managed to answer everything, I'm almost disappointed. If you registered the event last year and you've taken the event to this year, are these going to show in the calendar? That's correct, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah. So as I said earlier, we'll aim to have all of those approvals as much as we can out of the way by the end of this week. So any of those events will show up in a calendar. It won't be the calendar that you're currently aware of on the website. We are changing it, so there'll be a new link for it and a temporary home until we manage to get it integrated properly into our website. But it will be there and it will be visible to everybody.
Hopefully, this will become the most comprehensive tournament calendar in the UK. As we said, even if it's not a record status shoot, you can now have it on there free of charge. Yeah, brilliant. One more minute if anyone's got any other quick questions. Happy to wait. If anybody wants to ask Robert, can we edit the shoots transferred from last year?
Shoots that have been transferred over from last year are not editable by the organisers. We've had to move them in an administrative way. So unfortunately, we have to edit them. But if there are changes you need to make to them, please let us know. We will change those for you. That's not a problem.
Liz, we will follow the normal process. So the 2019 top 30 will get invited first. Yeah. And here's an example of, I did this example before. Lidishall's capable of holding about 70-75 targets. With the COVID distance spacing, that goes down to 40. So we go down from about 2. We're capable of having nearly 300 on Lidishall. We'll be looking at 160. That's why we're doing the compound and the recurve days separate. If we fill a field with 160 compounds, I will be absolutely mind blown. Yeah.
Bernie, you got your hand up again?
Just a quick one. With the record status paperwork and doing it on Sport 80, I know 3 clubs now have had to get a refund and totally reapply for the record status. Does that apply to everything this year?
Any shoot, John, I'll take this if John wants, any shoot that is moving to 2022, we will cancel, perform a refund, and it will need to be reapplied through properly in Sport 80. That is so the clubs can manage their shoot themselves rather than have us have a holdover and have some administrative ones that we lose track of. It's better for the clubs to do it that way. Also, you will notice if you saw the screen as I was going through, the rates have changed for upcoming rates for the UK record status and world record status plans. So there has been some rate changes too going forward, but certainly anything for 2021 that was 2020 that was moved to 21, that remains. But any changes for 2022, the event is cancelled, refunded, and the club has to reapply.
Right. So I had a tournament booked for May last year and asked them to transfer it. Oh, sorry. Start again. I had a tournament for July last year and asked them to carry it over to this year. So will I have to cancel that and get a refund and then rebook it?
For this year?
Not for this year, no. Only if you were going to move the shoot to 2022.
Okay, that's great.
Right, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because the thing is, we can't do a mass email at the moment. If you register your event, we can contact you. But if we've been transferring them all from the old system to the new system, we lose that ability to be able to send you all information. And we just want to get the system in order now. And there has to be a point where we just can't keep rolling everything because we're just losing track and people are losing their traditional weekends. People are overlapping, and we do want to maintain a sensible calendar for everyone where there's not 15 shoots within 10 miles of each other on the same day with everyone just keep cancelling, rolling. So we just had to say, right, everything got transferred through to this year, that stands. But as it comes to 2022 now, we need to do it the new way, the proper way.
Okay.
And we're just going to, we've got shoots in the system now that have been booked in more than once because people keep ringing up and moving dates, and it's just, and TOs are changing, and we just need to get it all straight and line and sorted out again.
Okay.
It's not been easy.
I know why we had to cancel.
Because we changed it.
Because we changed it.
Anything else?
Yeah, Lewis Brown, I think, has got a question.
Yeah, Lewis.
Hold on, better unmute myself. Yeah, hi, very quickly. If you book your do your tournament entry online and take entries online and payment online, how long after the tournament does your club receive the money through the Stripe system?
If you're using Stripe, so there's more information about it on Stripe's website. I'm not the world's expert on Stripe, unfortunately, but it's normally within a week of the first. So you take the payment, and then a week later the payment will come through to your bank account. Stripe do tend to move that occasionally, so I think at the minute you can change it to like every 2 days. There's a transaction run into your account from Stripe, but you will have, when you set up an account with Stripe, you have full control over that panel and exactly what schedule that money moves over on. What you do need to be aware of is if you want to perform refunds, the money has to be in the Stripe account to perform a refund. So normally what's recommended, I think, is that it stays there for about a week to 2 weeks, so that if you have to do a refund, there is some money in the Stripe account to perform the immediate refund to someone's card, rather than have to go to your bank account and do a normal refund with a back transaction that you might have to do after that period has elapsed. But there's more information on the Stripe site, and you can set up those payment schedules yourselves.
Okay, thanks ever so much. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll just address Karen. Pentref Club, who wanted and set that date for that event, the 3K3D, and it's a very tight amount of entries that are allowed there as well. I know it's not the most ideal for a UK Championship, but they needed it to happen in the qualifying period for the European Champs, so the 3D team could get enough shoots in. There's a 3D the week after in Kendal as well, I do believe. We're hoping very much that Pentrith can deliver that on that weekend. If they can't, we will move it. There is a backup date. They're working really hard with the Welsh government. I've seen emails today still flying around about it. So, and they've been great. They carried all of last year's entries over, and they've managed it very well. But I think we're on about the 4th date now for that shoot. John Gorman, I'm very interested in your question. Why would you not run the shoot on other guidelines at 4 meters apart? Would it just not work? Or I'm just interested. He's asked a question about I want to know what happens on the 21st, because you can run shoots. The webinar will be put up on YouTube soon. Yeah, as I said, it will be coming out as paperwork. It's a UK record shoot. Well, yeah, you can run UK record shoots as of the 12th of April, as long as you follow our guidelines. You don't need to cancel if we're not all relaxed on the 21st. Did you sign in late? Yeah. Okay. And the other thing I will say, lack of space, 10 bosses with 5 meter guidance. Yeah, as I said, Bernie up there, he's running a shoot with 13 targets. Bernie, you ran one last year with that many. How was the day for you as a shoot?
We ran it
as 2 singles.
Yeah.
And no, it went fine. I think we had 12 targets, 2 per target at that time.
Yeah.
It went great. I mean, I think we banned. No, we had tents, but we banned gazebos.
Yeah.
Because that people congregate on those. We didn't do food, but no, it went fine. It went fine. Yeah. We just said
pay on the day.
Pay on the day.
Brilliant.
Cool. They paid on the day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it went fine. Mario was DOS for us.
We ran it as a record.
And we had 2 field captains, because it was basically just to get people back out shooting.
Yeah.
I think we charged a £5 a round, and we had trophies, but we just sent them out by post once all the results were sorted. Yeah. So we just did first place. But I mean, we had Tom turn up, and we had quite a few.
We had from Essex.
Essex came up.
Oh no, I remember. Yeah,
we had quite a few. But no, it went well.
I think, and I've said this before, and this isn't me trying to right the world. We can make shoots happen. As I said, I always push the envelope. I will try and push whatever I can to do what I do. And I think we have to make things happen and go ahead now. And do you need to look at your price? Do you do what Bernie did and say we'll just have a local shoot, turn up and pay a £5 on a day? If your club own a ground, that is an option.
John, we still took entries.
Go on.
We still took entries on Tinternet.
Yes.
It was just so that people weren't posting checks and everything in, because we knew that maybe quite a few people couldn't turn up. You never know. At that particular time, people were getting COVID. So we just said pay on the day.
Yeah. And to answer Helen, I just hope we don't have to go down those roads, Helen. As I said, we will look at the rankings, but I'm really hoping we can deliver the national tour best we can, because I don't want to go. I know it works out well for yourself, but I don't want to go back to 2019's rankings again to have the same people. Nothing against the people who shot in the national tour final for the last 2 years, but I don't think you should get 3 off 2019's performance. So I really hope we can. And it's really tough for all the home nations not doing the same thing at the same time. And we can try and be as fair as we can be, but right now it's just impossible to be completely and utterly fair and not have to make last minute horrible decisions about stuff. There's a hand up down here from an S.
Susan.
Did
Mario.
you have a question?
Go on.
John,
Yeah.
John, I was at Bernie's shoot, and the one thing that we did a 720 straight after that, and the one thing I learned from Bernie's shoot was to do 5 meters with so they had a 1 meter in the middle walking lane, so they didn't cross each other's 2 meter square.
Yeah. No, that's the same as we worked out. We ran the first pilot at 4, but we only had 20 people. But when we ran our next pilot at 4, we realised it is too close. So the next one, we went up to 5, and we had gap lanes. And yeah, it did work out really well. Obviously, there's a lot of evidence out there that outdoors is much, much, much safer with COVID. And we're not putting out a rule that you must wear masks, but I want it to be a place where people can wear masks and not feel judged by anybody. Or if you don't wear a mask, either way, I want people to be a comfortable environment for people to feel safe. And as I said, I think everything we managed to put out last year at the end of the year, and I'm really glad we did now. And with shoots like yours, we did manage to produce very safe outdoor tournaments. And as I said before, field archery, this is the golden opportunity for field archery right now, because that format improved my personal experience of field. And I love field. Went up with the, like as I call it, the golf system. You turn up, you go around, you leave. Brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. Right, that's it. If anybody wants any further chats, help, guidance, please reach out to myself or Robert or a member of Robert's team on membership. We are here to help anyone. Please don't feel there's not a way we can work things out. It's always a solution. I hope everything's well. As I said, hopefully we'll get this guidance in paper form up on the website this week. This webinar will go on the Archery GB YouTube in the next few days as well. So brilliant. Thank you everyone for coming and listening to us tonight.
John, there's just one more question which I've been asked by somebody, actually by Messenger. Just to clarify the situation around double events being registered on the platform and what the fees you have to pay in terms of registering shoots for world record status. If you are registering a double round, so a double 1440 or a double York Hereford, that is a single registration over 2 days for the round, because it's a double. You are registering it as a double. If you are registering a 1440 on one day and a 720 in a head-to-head on another day, then that is 2 separate days of world record status registration, because they're 2 completely different events. And that's also how they're handled by World Archery when we register for the world record status with them. So just bear that in mind when you're registering. Make sure you pick the right option, single or double, for the event you're trying to register for. But again, any questions around those, if you want to come to the membership team, email tournaments@archerygb.org, and we'll be able to help advise on that accordingly on an event by event basis.
Yeah, brilliant, cool, brilliant. Thank you all. Get those competitions going, please. Magic. See you all. Bye.